2024 Brazil Grand Prix race notes. Sabrina's race notes. Warning you now, my notes are not brief. Due to the delayed schedule, I couldn't watch live and have been trying to process everything that has happened as quickly as possible. Sprint. Number 1. Team orders and McLaren. I may be in the minority, but I honestly don't see the issue everyone is making about the timing and manner in which McLaren handled the decision. I feel like the media is really drumming up issues. Maybe I'm wrong. Number 2. Max losing P3 due to the VSC infringement smarts a bit. Was that a discretionary subjective call? I don't know. If these penalties continue to be assessed, it would be shocking if he ultimately received a race ban, especially this close to the end of the year. What if ultimately it affected his ability to win the World Drivers' Championship? Quali. Number 3. I'm a bit confused and annoyed by people who were upset by the postponement of qualifying. I have to say I don't know comparing the older eras of racing in the rain today is fair. The cars aren't the same. As much as I wanted quali on Saturday and knew it would be a beast for teams and drivers, not to mention fans, to have quali on Sunday, I thought the safety concerns about water on the track and sunlight made sense. The rain was much worse on Saturday than on Sunday, and look at what Sunday was like. I can't imagine teams were jumping up to go out there and put their cars at risk, knowing it meant a long night of recovery if a crash happened, not to mention the crash bill. Did it affect my viewer experience? For sure. But I do think they made the right call. Number 4. When we ultimately had quali, it was definitely interesting. I found the decisions to let Q2 close as late as it did fair, but I definitely want to get the guys' opinions. Number 5. I think the quali decision only fueled Max's existing fire. Over this triple header and streak of non-wins, Max has been criticized for more ways than one. His racecraft, how he presents himself publicly. Do I think it's fair? Honestly, I don't know. When it comes to media, I'm skeptical of messaging and aware that everyone has an agenda and point of view. What I do think is that Max wanted to prove that he and his team were able to make this unruly car submit to his will and pull out a win, especially when it seemed like the deck was stacked against them, either by the industry or by nature. I also think his team knew that if they optimized their setup for the rain, they could prepare for the variables that result from a race in the rain. As the guys have said, you don't forget how to win. And so I imagine they had to believe that any of their upgrades since Austin had the chance to bring them back to the front. Red Bull's factors of being a winning team and having such a talented driver must have encouraged them, through the right set of circumstances, they could overcome a car that's not been ideal for them for this season. Number 6. Colapinto this weekend definitely made an impact in ways I don't think he wanted. Williams' bottom line and the drivers' championship title contention were impacted by both of Colapinto's crashes. As much as he's being discussed for seats on the grid, Val's statement of support, and the masses of Argentinian fans who flocked to Interlagos, I have to think when he looks back at this weekend, it won't be with joy. That's unfortunate, and I hope he can rest and reset and not detour his thunderous entrance into the Formula One world main stage. Number 7. Norris-Russell versus Verstappen, Ocon, and Gasly. Decision to pit. Wow. I have to agree with Lando. It was a bit lucky that Max and Alpine's tactical decision paid off. I do see why McLaren did it though. For constructors, McLaren needed to ensure both their cars made it to the end of the race. Considering how cars were going out lap after lap, pitting gave them a bit of an opportunity to manage the weather on the horizon and endure as best as they could. They didn't want to lose their focus, and their focus was the Constructors' Championship money and wind tunnel for 2025, which will be critical to setting up McLaren for success as we turn to new regulations, and they want to eke out the last drop of this regulation's development. I have to believe that McLaren has made it clear to both drivers that they have to keep that front of mind. For Red Bull and Max, I think they had nothing to lose by staying out. Same with Alpine. Staying out as long as possible enabled them to take the risk that the race of attrition and the hope for a safety car or even a virtual safety car. But the key for Max is that he is built differently than the others. Yes, luck was on his side, but you have to couple that with his talent and skill. We see that over and over again. As much as I believe the others are talented, I can also admire Max's specific set of skills and mentality. Number 8. It's clear aboard aborted starts are infrequent, especially at this level of racing and this era of Formula One. So I think the aborted start is a great moment to see how two highly skilled and capable drivers handled the unexpected. Lando, I think as much as he may have known the rule, had a lot riding on his shoulders, and neither he or his team spoke about what steps to take since it was an aborted start prior to him moving. That was the critical error. That said, he was in pole, the weekend was already discombobulated, weather was a variable that he knew could affect the Grand Prix. He had Russell in P2, and considering his history with starts, I can see how he didn't technically do the right thing. He wasn't clear-minded. Max, on the other hand, sitting in the back, knowing it's going to be a battle to win, has a history of being cool under pressure and possibly feeling that the deck may be stacked against him. He would be doing his darndest to stay focused and win. He also wasn't happy with his car, but maybe he felt the rain might give him a fighting chance. He was clearly confident in knowing he needed to hold steady and said as much to his team. Both want the Drivers' Championship, but both are in different headspaces and dealing with pressure internally and externally, as well as the unexpected showed here. Number 9. I have to agree that it was an amazing masterclass from Verstappen. Don't let the title trip you up, especially if you're a Lando fan, but Mark Hughes' article, 2 Key Norris Errors That Blew Final F1 Title Hope in the Race, provides a great retelling of the Grand Prix. Number 10. My heart goes out to Haas, Mercedes, and Williams. I really wanted this weekend to bring major points for each of these teams this weekend as we closed out the triple header. I did appreciate the positive outlook of Ayu Komatsu. Quote, "It's been a very tough weekend. We didn't perform, and others scored heavily. Looking ahead, we have decent pace, so we need to reset and refocus. We need to get the best out of the car and everyone for the next 3 races." End quote. To say this after 6 consecutive point-scoring weekends for the team and a weekend as chaotic as it was, this was wise and impressive. He had a rookie in one of the most classic racetracks in the rain who was subbing in for a veteran, and Nico's era of allowing the marshals to help his car get back on track unfortunately affected the team's ability to gain those much-needed points. After a not-so-great sprint race, I can understand why it's a weekend to forget. With Williams looking at their expenses racking up, I found James Vowell's post-race message hard to watch. These weeks are going to be definitely requiring them to rest and reset. I want to believe him that he still believes in his team and drivers and that they will continue pushing until Abu Dhabi. Number 11. What a great turnaround of points for Alpine. Their gamble paid off, and their drivers and team were able to hold it together long enough to hold competitors at bay and not fall victim to the weather. Number 12. I have to say I was impressed with Yuki, though I don't think many are paying attention. He held his position for quite some time. I feel that unfortunately his early behavior in his career has now created a persona or reputation. To watch how he is overlooked and frustrated by it, if you watch the post-race show, his teammate crashed his interview. I haven't really ever seen that happen. In the post-quali presser, multiple times when he spoke, Russell and Lando had side conversations. These are subtle things, but have to affect Yuki's mental self-view. I think he's not taken seriously, even for his development over this last year. So to see him endure the race and perform as well as he did for as long as he did, I was glad for him. Do I think he's ready for a Red Bull seat? I don't know. I would love to hear the guy's opinion on this. Red Bull must have also enjoyed Liam's performance as well because it gave them double points. Number 13. I love this quote from Pierre Gasly reported by Chris Medlin in Racer Magazine. Quote, "I don't think anyone can understand," Gasly said. "It's a very personal relationship between Esteban and myself. But we've been going through so much. All these times we've had, like over winter, -5 degrees Celsius outside, we were the only ones showing up at the go-kart track, going out in the rain, in the snow, slick tires, 9, 10, 11 years old. And we've really practiced these conditions. On a day like Sunday, I can tell you this actually made the difference. All that practice. I remember us getting back in the truck, trying to get warm after a few laps because we were absolutely freezing. And it's just that we've had our ups and downs, but this 2-year chapter as teammates, I think we can be very proud of the way we've pushed the team forward. It's been tough, obviously this season, but we've always tried to push the team in the right direction to never give up. And on a day like Sunday, even when the car has misbehaved for the majority of the season, everyone tried to put their A game, and it was just a historical day for the team. Very proud for everyone working in the team to achieve such a performance." End quote. Considering all the turmoil at Alpine and how Esteban will be departing the team at the end of the year, for Pierre to say this publicly after they made a 2 and 3 podium, that made me smile. I read somewhere that Esteban is like, quote, proved once again that he feels like a fish underwater in the rain, end quote. This race definitely showed that if the stars align, he can make rain work for him, which goes back to the quote from Pierre. Their dedication from childhood bodes well for them when in cars and within teams that can leverage their skills. Number 14. I also have to commend Fernando Alonso. His radio message at the end about finishing the race for the mechanics, though his back was hurting, and if you saw the footage of him needing help to get out of the car, he's a true class act. I don't think we truly understand how much determination and the consequences of his sacrifice he will feel this week and in the years to come. Overall, number 15. What a chaotic weekend, yet I truly enjoyed it. I am glad no one was seriously injured. Number 16. This whole weekend was such an unfortunate scheduling. As everyone knows, I am not a fan of the sprints. Since it was a sprint, teams were disadvantaged with only one FP. Then, for the rain to affect Saturday GP qualifying, what a load of variables and uncertainty thrown into the Saturday Grand Prix. Number 17. The Interlagos track resurfacing issue needs to be addressed before the teams return next year. To hear more than once from drivers that it was bumpy and to see its effects on drivers, I was not pleased. And number 18. Could F1 get a dream scenario where Max gets crowned World Drivers' Champion on the strip? Apparently, the numbers have been crunched, and it's possible. Dick's race notes. Sabrina, you did a fantastic job with your race notes. I'm not sure that I can add anything to what you have already written other than a few random thoughts. Number 1. I wonder how much the total crash damage bill for this weekend must be for all the teams combined, and how is this going to impact the cost cap and therefore the development of the 2025 car. Number 2. It was a very expensive weekend for Williams for sure, and I think that for Franco Colapinto in particular, it may serve as a reminder to him that no matter how much promise he still has a lot to learn, and that there is a fine line to being on the limit and then going over the limit. The other point to remember is that racing in the rain and racing in the dry are two different animals. Number 3, which brings me to my third point, and that is that Max put on a masterclass in how to race in the rain, and he delivered a drive that could compare favorably to Senna at Donington or Jackie Stewart at the Nuremberg in 1968. All three of these races were run in appalling conditions, and in each case, the cream rose to the top. Number 4. We know that the Red Bull is one of the best cars in the field, but it is no longer the best car in the field because the rain is the great equalizer. A really good car in the hands of the best rain driver resulted in an outstanding victory. Number 5. How Lando Norris responds to this defeat will be fascinating to watch. Did Max destroy Lando mentally, or will Lando come in the last 3 races and do what he needs to do, which is to win all 3 of them and then let the chips fall where they may? Time will tell.